Hello and welcome to our channel Echoes of History and Geopolitics. In this video, we would like to discuss the Korean conflict. The Democratic People's Republic of Korea, which is also called North Korea, and Republic of Korea, which is called the South Korea, were divided into two by an imaginary line called the 38th parallel. This is the 38th parallel, the world's most dangerous border, and it's likely that a major conflict could break out here very soon. In this video, we will learn what will happen if there is a war between North and South Korea and who will win this war. But before that, let us know the reason for this war between North Korea and South Korea and understand the DMZ line. DMZ means demilitarized zone, and this zone is the border between North Korea and South Korea, where this whole issue has been there for the last 70 years. Before World War I, the whole of Korea was under the control of Japan. But then after Japan's defeat in World War II, Japan lost control of Korea. In 1948, two major allies, also winners of World War II, Soviet Union and America, agreed to divide Korea into two military occupation zones and divided the country by the 38th parallel. With the Soviet zone in the north and American zone in the south, the division was meant to be temporary, with plans for Korea to be reunited under a single government. The north was backed by Soviet Union and the US backed the south. Due to Northern Korea being under Soviet control, it became a socialist state and South Korea became a liberal country. Both North and South Korea claimed sovereignty over the entire region, which led to the outbreak of Korean War in 1950, which came to involve US-led United Nations and Communist Chinese forces. During the initial days of war, North Korea captured almost the entire South Korea, but then the American and South Korean armies together retaliated and pushed the North Korean forces back to the border of China. This war lasted for 3 years and about 500,000 people were killed. On July 27, 1953, the Korean Armistice Treaty was signed in Panmunjom. Both sides packed up and marched away from the same line despite sacrificing lives to advance a few miles. The treaty required both sides to retreat 2 kilometers from the agreed demarcation line within 72 hours, indicating the end of the conflict. According to this agreement, a buffer zone was created where no soldier or military equipment of any country could be deployed. But many things were missed in this agreement, such as maritime borders. The United Nations and America drew this Northern Limit Line, NLL line, without asking North Korea and gave the entire area under the control of South Korea. Ever since then, the entire border is a big reason for tensions between these two countries. Even today, 70 years later, the two sides keep watch exactly where they ended their 2-kilometer withdrawal. The infamous DMZ is located at the center and is now mostly deserted. The name reflects the rules. Originally, only 1,000 personnel from each side were permitted to enter their respective halves of the DMZ at any given time, and they could only carry small firearms. The rules stipulated in the agreement have been broken on several occasions. However, they still reflect their original intent. To avoid conflict, each side must make it very clear to the other all the times that they have no intentions of a military incursion, and the best way to do so is stay far away from the line. As a result, the DMZ's purpose is to serve as a 4-kilometer wide zone of nothing. Each side controls access to the zone and heavily guarded gates and barriers, although there is no wall dividing the two Koreas inside the DMZ. Of late, the North Koreans have made their intentions very obvious. The North Korean Defense Ministry released this video just a few days ago. In this video, Kim Jong-un can be seen staring at a model of South Korea's capital Seoul with his military generals while also discussing how he can fully demolish Seoul. North Korea's primary concentration is on the Northern Limit Line, which is also called the NLL. This line marks the disputed sea border between South and North Korea. This area has been under the control of South Korea for many years, but North Korea claims this entire sea and these islands as its own, and this is the reason why in 2010, North Korea carried out missile attacks on the South Korean Navy ships passing through here, and then after a few months, North Korea attacked the Southern Korean soldiers and people present on the island. They also fired shells in which about 50 people were killed, and then in January 2024, North Korea conducted a lot of military exercises near these islands and also fired many missiles in the sea. According to the latest news, Kim Jong-un has closed all the backdoor diplomacy channels with South Korea. North Korea did not just stop at this. In the last 9 months, it has also tested 40 ballistic missiles, out of which 4 were ICBMs. These were the missiles that can target the American cities like Los Angeles, San Francisco, which are 10,000 kilometers away. After all this, the political tension in the Yellow Sea and the whole of Eastern Asia has become very intense. And if North Korea attacks South Korea, then this will not be an ordinary war, because the first, second and fourth economies of the world will also automatically become a part of this war, and the global supply chain will take a big hit. Kim Jong-un probably has a more strict personality than his father and grandfather. Kim killed his uncle Jang Song Taik and his own half-brother Kim Jong Nam, who he thought were going against him. There are very strict laws in North Korea. No Korean can leave the country without permission. During COVID, North Korea passed a law that anyone who tries to cross the Chinese border without permission will be shot. North Korea has been imposing strict restrictions on its borders with China and Russia for the last few years. It is building walls so that no one can cross. But a very interesting thing here is that all of North Korea's trade is with China. In fact, North Korea may not be able to survive without China. Similarly, it is also dependent on Russia. If we zoom in this area, on one side there is Korea's Tamgang railway station, and on the other side there is Russia's Khasa station. American satellite took a picture of this area last October, in which some very interesting things were seen. In these images, it was seen that many trains are entering Russia from Korea's station, and many crates are kept in these trains. According to experts, North Korea is supplying weapons to Russia. According to Ukrainian military, they have found a lot of ammunition in this war belonging to North Korea. South Korean intelligence also endorsed this claim of Ukraine. It also claims North Korea has sent its spy satellite into space with the help of Russia. Now, if we finally come to the possibility that this whole issue escalates and a full-scale war starts, then what will happen? If the war starts, the biggest and first impact will be on South Korea's capital Seoul, which is just 40 to 30 kilometers away from the border of North Korea. Nearly 70% of South Korea's economy is dependent on Seoul. The world's top industrial giants like Samsung have their headquarters in Seoul, and unfortunately this city is in the range of all the missiles and cannons of North Korea. According to a 2020 report, if North Korea shells Seoul for just 1 minute, then 15,000 people will be killed, and these casualties will reach 1 lakh in an hour. According to South Korean Defense Ministry, in case of war, about 2 lakh North Korean soldiers will try to cross this border and reach the Han River, because this river is the lifeline of Seoul. South Korea also claims that if North Korean soldiers reach here, they will dump chlorine and sarin gas in this river, due to which lakhs of people can die in a few hours. But on the other hand, it is not that easy for North Korea to reach Seoul. There are about 73 US bases in South Korea, in which there are 28,000 American soldiers. Apart from this, American warships present in Guam and Japan will also reach South Korea immediately to help in case of war. The biggest advantage of South Korea is manpower. Due to more population, South Korea has 5 lakh active and 31 lakh reserve soldiers, which is much more than the army of North Korea. And now if we talk about the scenario of victory or defeat, if North Korea loses this war, then China will suffer the biggest loss, because that will mean that China's biggest enemy, America, has now reached its neighborhood, and China will never let this happen. China will try its best to ensure that North Korea does not lose this war. Russia will also try something similar because it also shares a border with North Korea, and North Korea's defeat will mean that its eastern border is now compromised. Similarly, it is very important for Japan, Taiwan and America that South Korea wins this war, because North Korea's victory will mean China's victory, and this is not acceptable to these three countries as the stakes are way too high. So all in all, this war between North and South Korea will not be just a war between two countries, but a regional war. And the biggest grey area in this entire scenario right now is North Korea's nuclear capability. Nobody knows how many nuclear weapons North Korea actually has. In 2017, North Korea tested a nuclear bomb whose weight was 140 kilotons, meaning this bomb was almost 9 times more powerful than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. We are rapidly moving towards a big disaster. People were in denial about the Russia-Ukraine war, but it happened and continues even after 2 years. What is happening in Gaza right now was also not expected by anyone. Despite so many months passing, Israel has not stopped bombing Gaza and Lebanon. It appears Israel wants to attack Iran, dragging the US into this war. The clouds of Third World War are looming large, from Europe to the Middle East to China, Taiwan, North and South Korea. We hope and pray all the disputes are resolved immediately through dialogue and avoid more bloodshed. Thank you for watching. We will see you again in our next video. Until then, take care and stay safe.